Money in the Bank 2024, we got a lot to go over. We've got a future Hall of Famer, one step closer to that endeavor with his retirement announced very, very soon. We've got two Money in the Bank candidates, one that's already expired, and we also got a little bit of a bloodline main event style. I'm your host, Bryan, the Hype Ballard, and we're going to get into a little bit of Money in the Bank results and thoughts. You're in the right spot. Let's get in. Money in the Bank, when we look at it, we start out with the men's ladder match here. And we got the candidates. We got the ever-popular Chad Gable playing the Kurt Angle 2.0. Honestly thought we were going to get a little bit of a, Creed brothers kind of mix up in this matchup. We didn't get that, though, in the men's match. We've got main event Jey Uso getting his Money in the Bank one step back to the main event. Is he going to do that tonight? We've got Andrade. We've got LA Knight. We've got Drew McIntyre and Carmelo Hayes. In reality, I felt in this matchup we were going to get, there were three candidates that I really had winning this. I had Jey Uso, which was my number one pick. I had LA Knight as another possible candidate, but we know he's on to other things. And then we had Drew McIntyre, who I thought was a real candidate as well. Andrade was here for the action, but he's gone in a flash like the WWE Speed Championship. We've got Carmelo Hayes making his, rookie debut in the main roster, and I felt he felt the latter part very well here. Chad Gable added a lot of value with the technical wrestling, so overall not a bad mix-up. But I really believed that Jey Uso should have won this matchup. I felt like that would have given him something to work with in the next year, looming over the idea that he could cash in on the Money in the Bank, that he could add and make it a triple threat anytime he wanted. But we opted to not go that route tonight. We opted to go with Drew McIntyre getting the win here. So despite all of these guys all fit in their different parts, we got chaos early in the matchup. We got Mello, who kicks LA Knight hard in the face. He's severely over with the crowd. LA Knight getting every chant that yeah. We get some power slams into some trouble. We get Uso with a pop-up neck breaker, and Gable now with a baby face, and they square up. McIntyre puts Andrade into the barricade. Uso and then LA has a tug of war over the ladder, and they're fighting for it. We got Chad and Carmelo off their feet as well. Meanwhile, we got some trading punches. We've got Andrade charging, and then he cuts Chad off with the drop kick, takes the ladder, swinging it all around. We got a moonsault at one point, a Russian leg sweep into the steel. That coming from Andrade. Ultimately, we got the Usos and McIntyre at it. We got a spear taking Drew out. We got Gable now, super kick, drop down, slap. Jey leans the ladder in the corner, but Chad Gable German suplexes him and turns to McIntyre. This matchup a little bit all over, a little bit of crazy. We got some spots. We got some really good, yay, yeet, trading blows back and forth. Crowd really into it, and the two were definitely playing into that. That was an interesting little matchup, seeing LA Knight looking and teasing to go one-on-one, and then ultimately veering off to take care of opponents, creeping back into the ring. We've got a code breaker at one point on the outside, Carmelo slipping out. We got Hayes setting up Gable with ladders. We've got two ladders in the ring a lot for this one, with a couple others in position. We've got, ultimately, these guys just going at it. We got Andrade and Carmelo crashing through the ladders with the sunset flip powerbomb. We got LA climbing. We got Chad pulling him down. He blocks the BFT. We got he throws Knight into the standing ladder on the rebound. We got a belly-to-belly suplex over the ropes and through the bridging ladder on the outside to the announce table. I gotta give Chad Gable credit here. He really popped those hips on the toss. and got his opponent to clear the rope. I gotta say, I would trust Chad Gable with myself in the ring like that, in a spot like that. He definitely made sure he cleared the distance, didn't get caught on those ropes. So I gotta give him a lot of credit there. Great spot there. We got Jay tipping the ladder over, Chad hanging from the belt at one point, dangling in a little bit of comedic fashion, but dangling, and then ultimately he just kind of falls. I don't know what they were looking to do here, but we did have a spear right after that. Uso then climbing desperate, he hands, and then Drew McIntyre throws a ladder like a spear at Uso, knocks him down. And at this point is when we realize it's not going to be Jey Uso, it's Drew McIntyre retrieving the briefcase and winning the 2024 Men in Money in the Bank men's ladder match. You guys notice that advertisement on the briefcase? It wasn't obnoxious to me, but man, we are really just trying to brand a lot of things. There was one branding I did not like and did not make sense tonight. I'll talk about that later on. It really got under my skin a little bit, let's say. But I didn't mind it as much here. It was very subtle. I don't know what Vought is international, but obviously it was important. Ultimately, Drew McIntyre winning this Money in the Briefcase does not do anything for the championship. Believe it or not, we're going to find out later this is going to come into play, and it's just kind of a one-shot, so to speak. All to build a feud with a guy that's injured and coming back so we can capitalize on it. And don't get me wrong, I feel like the WWE's done a great job building the feud up between McIntyre and Punk. We didn't get that immediately in the open match. We will get that later. Let's continue on. And the next matchup was the Intercontinental Championship. This one, for me, overstayed its welcome. I was excited to see their styles. I was excited to see how this goes about. I honestly thought that Braun Breaker would be beating Sammy for this title. That did not happen. Sammy retained. They like playing this underdog, and they like playing Sammy escaping. And I gotta ask you guys, does Sami Zayn do anything for you as champion? I feel like he has a tradition, what your traditional transition champion is. I don't look at Sami Zayn as my top list of Intercontinental greats. I don't know if he forms into that. But what I do know is he beat Gunther, the greatest Intercontinental champion of all time and longest reigning. And Braun Breaker, you got to be careful with how you handle him on this main roster. He's been having a good steam. He's been pushed forward and pushed correctly on the main roster. I look at Braun Breaker as Ryback done right, mixed with a little Brock Lesnar style push. I felt like his matches needed to be in the medium, 8 to 10 minutes long. I felt like this match just went a little bit longer than what I like to see. I'm not looking for Braun Breaker to have a technical masterpiece. I'm looking for him to have a powerful showing in each of his matches and showing when he's not there to mess around. He's a Steiner brother. He's ready to roll. He's ready to attack. And they had an opportunity for Braun Breaker to capitalize on beating Sami Zayn in his home country of Canada tonight. That did not happen. I suggested that Braun should have won this Intercontinental Championship tonight and moved on to SummerSlam to maybe challenge, somebody like The Miz in their hometown, only to defeat them. Also, Miz is the gateway to a lot of things, and I think that would be a great person to work on those mic skills with. But ultimately, I do see, Braun could have had the idea built around him that there is no home field advantage when you fight Braun Breaker. He beats you on your home court, on your home field. The advantage is his advantage. And I felt like there was a missed opportunity beating Sammy tonight for this title. Maybe going on to beat The Miz in Cleveland. Maybe going on to just beat guys in their hometown, and that's his thing, and he does it effectively. The future is still bright for Braun, but it's got to brighten up. Otherwise, he's could end up on the island of irrelevancy if not done correctly. But what we have in this match, we have a circling and Breaker with a takedown. He decides to give Zayn a free shot. Sammy slaps him. Braun double legs him into the corner. Shoulder blocks, right hand. Zayn with an elbow up. We get a diving brain chop. We get a whip reverse. Sammy passes him on the floor, hits the Arabian press Acai moonsault. Back inside, we get some chops, some uppercuts. Sammy takes control. I liked all of this. I liked that he was on the move from Bryan in the beginning. I like the ole, ole, ole chants. The crowd always brings it, especially these international crowds. Canada was no different. Good job. We get a belly-to-belly suplex. We get push-ups. After Sami Zayn kicks out, Bryan's showing off a little bit. That's fine. We can play in the heel character. But at this point, we get a couple, we get a Lucha step-up tornado DDT, clothespin. But we go all around, and then it kind of starts veering out a little bit. I was looking for my bathroom break. Back in, we go outside again. I think this part could have been cut out to save a little time, but then we get eventually back inside in the match. We get a military press. Sammy slips out. We get an exploder in the corner. We get all hawked up. We're waiting for Bryan to get up, and we get the haluva kick countered with a jumping knee by Bryan. We get a military press slam. The straps are coming down Kurt Angle style again here. Second match in a row. And we get Breaker waiting, and then we get a spear countered with a front kick. A haluva kick connects, and 1, 2, and 3. Sami Zayn, your impossible champion, is still possibly champion at the end of this Money in the Bank night, and he is. So here's what we got. We got Sami Zayn moving on. I don't know if he goes with another Braun Breaker championship matchup. Maybe they want Braun to win it on a bigger stage at SummerSlam. Or maybe Sami just moves on, and that's what he does. He beats the big guys. I don't know what Sami Zayn's next feud is going to be at SummerSlam with this belt. I don't know. You guys interested in a return match between these two? Maybe that's it. I'm not sure on that. I'm a little bit like, we'll see where it goes. But right now, I'm starting to believe you guys on Chad Gable maybe should have been the winner of this. I don't know. I mean, I feel like the Intercontinental Championship can run the risk of wearing a little thin after coming off a great champion like Gunther. Guys, if you like wrestling, hit the like button. It's just going to help your algorithm. It'll help you see more wrestling, even if it's not my content. But anyway, if you're a current subscriber, thank you, for being a part of this and what we do here. It's a part of what makes me excited, being a wrestling fan. If you're new, consider subscribing. Thanks for everything you do, guys. Hey, we get a couple things. We get a special announcement tonight. Triple H said he had a surprise for us, and he did not disappoint. We've got Trish Stratus, first of all, that comes out onto the stage. Chris Stratus is the host of WrestleMania. Jesus. I'm fast forwarding into next year already, guys. Is the host of the Money in the Bank. She's, WWE, I like what they did with Trish Stratus throughout the night. WWE using their legends in their hometowns. I am for this. It brings a sense of nostalgia, makes it feel special. Let's use our Hall of Famers this way. They're still of age. Let's use our, talent that people love to embrace, and let's add them to the mix. So good job using Trish Stratus tonight. But the big surprise was John Cena is here. He's ready. He's got the jorts on. He's got the knee pads. I thought he was going to get a little action there with that. He's got, of course, the You Can't See Me hat, matching shirt. We know how it is, John Cena style. He comes out, he salutes the camera. He gets on the mic. The crowd is loving this. And John Cena lets us all know that he is announcing his retirement. And it's very surreal for me right now. So I want to bring up a couple points about John Cena's retirement. I tweeted this earlier. John Cena's retirement is because he feels comfortable retiring. It's not that he's going away or running away from the WWE. He feels comfortable retiring from in-ring action. He will always be a part of the WWE in some format. But John Cena retiring, it means he's comfortable with the fact that the WWE is in good hands, to where he feels like he can truly step away as a face of the WWE. And that means that Cody Rhodes is definitely put over and viewed as the face of the WWE. And that's a John Cena approval. Trust and believe that. He announces that WrestleMania 41 in Las Vegas next year will be his last WrestleMania. Who would you guys like to see as John Cena's final WrestleMania opponent? I've got some ideas. I may kind of throw that out in the future, but I'm going to give you one right now. I would love to see Randy Orton, John Cena at WrestleMania 41. It's bigger than life, and it's never been done on a main stage of WrestleMania. I think it's one of John Cena's greatest rivals. I could see that matchup happening. I could also see, I trust and believe that CM Punk would want the match with John Cena. But I don't know. I think Punk wants it more than John Cena wants it. But I also think John has got a list. And I think it is a short list of who he wants to work with. Now, John did confirm tonight that, it's not just going to be WrestleMania and he's done. He will be a year in the making. The year of 2025 will be the year of John Cena before he wraps it up, and he wants us to have fun with him and go on this final ride with him. And I got my ticket and I am bored. I am very excited. John Cena, to me, is the modern day Hulk Hogan. And what I mean by that is Hulk Hogan created the future of the business in the 80s, creating young children as fans, and they grew up to be people like myself jumping into the eras of wrestling. John Cena created a younger fan base that will allow the WWE to thrive for another 20 years beyond his time. He got us interested. He got us ready. He's a role model. WWE embodies everything that John Cena is, and John Cena embodies the WWE. He is the ultimate face of the company, and there will never be another John Cena in the world of wrestling. I'm excited to see what he's got dished up in his final year for us. I would propose the idea that maybe he could break Ric Flair's record of 16. Maybe that is in the cards for his final run. Time will tell, time will see, but it is announced at Money in the Bank tonight that John Cena will officially be retiring, and I want to say thank you, John Cena. Let's move on. I could talk about that all night with you guys, and I look forward to talking about it at the Bryan Adkins over on Twitter or X with you guys. Let's get into the World Heavyweight Championship. This was supposed to be a one-on-one matchup. We've got Damian Priest versus Seth Rollins with some stipulations added. The idea that if Rollins wins, Damian Priest is done with Judgment Day. If Damian Priest wins, Seth Rollins will never get a championship matchup as long as Damian Priest is champion. Well, even stakes on both sides. I don't know how this will shake out now that the conditions of this championship match have changed, with it being not a one-on-one match, but we get a Money in the Bank cash-in on this one. We get Drew McIntyre making his presence known and cashing in, causing it to be a triple threat. So I ask, do those stipulations go out of effect since it was not one-on-one? Does this carry into SummerSlam? Most likely. What does Judgment Day have to say about this? Where is that going to burst? The coming weeks on Raw will tell us what the World Heavyweight Championship will do for Damian Priest, and maybe even Seth Rollins. This matchup starts with some underhooks from Rollins. We get Priest trading chops with them. We get some corner action. Seth slips under the chops. We get a back elbow suplex, lift Damian with a knee, and a broken arrow attempt. Ultimately, we get a reverse STO. Fast forward a little bit in this matchup, we get a couple pin attempts, but no, just not enough. One thing I want to mention about working with Seth Rollins, I want to give this guy a lot of credit. Seth Rollins is the perfect opponent for a young Damian Priest to work with as a young champion. Seth Rollins is that type of wrestler. He can morph and adjust and lead a match with any champion to kind of help work with them, right? And so I felt like right opponent for Damian here to further work with. We get some elbow blocks and a super kick. Left and rights back and forth faster and faster. We get a super kick that connects the second time here. Cyclone kill, 540 roundhouse. We get Rollins countering some underhooks. We get a back body drop, and then we get some counters off the ropes. We get up top. We fight for position. Priest hits the ears a little bit, and then we knocks him down. Rollins pops up, the superplex, roll through. We get another position fighting, and then Seth gets the Falcon Arrow out of everything. And here comes Drew McIntyre walking down, and he's looking like a man on a mission. He's getting his WrestleMania championship back, and he cashes in, causing it to now be a triple threat matchup. Damian Priest, Drew McIntyre, Seth Rollins. Here we go. It's ready to roll. We get the Future Shock connecting for a 1 and a 2. Lane waiting, but Priest returns and hits Drew with a lariat, sending Seth out to the outside, and then Drew floats out south of heaven, and the Claymore hits him, but dragging Priest over, but CM Punk arrives, and he's throwing all in when getting those hands, and he takes Drew over the barricade, and he hits him with a chair multiple times. At this point, he's choking Drew with a cable, he's smashing him with a chair some more. Drew stumbles back into the ring, and Punk grabs the title belt, heads after him, smashes him with the big belt. CM sits cross-legged on the announcer table, very Money in the Bank pipe bomb style. And then in the ring, Damian Priest hits a lateral press on Drew McIntyre and wins by pinfall. 1, 2, 3, retaining the World Heavyweight Championship. And we now have Damian Priest sneaking out of this one-on-one matchup with Seth Rollins as champion. What will make of his Judgment Day alliance? At what point does his teammates, at what point does his stablemates, do they get mad and say, we've had enough? At what point does other people get involved in the world title match like Finn Balor? I do ask that. Seth has some words for Punk. Corey Graves is trying to play the middleman, and ultimately he gets Seth to back down. We'll see later on in the evening. We'll see Drew McIntyre going like a madman on the post show, attacking the post show, throwing referees around. I found it very interesting that the way he was acting, and then general manager Adam Pearce comes up behind him and grabs him and takes a good shot elbow to the temple. And then we got Punk just kind of blatantly just being light about it in the press conference. So we have ultimately Damian Priest moving on. I don't know what SummerSlam will bring. Maybe a triple threat. I think it's a multi-man world title match that could be in the works. We do have Gunther getting his world title shot. Let's keep that in mind. We also, what was going on? The Money in the Bank briefcase for the men's side decided to take the year off, I guess. I don't know if we just didn't need it for the year. We didn't have any young stars that could have advanced from this. This is what I didn't want to happen. I really didn't want the title being wasted in a Drew McIntyre CM Punk feud. I don't feel like that feud needed this Money in the Bank briefcase. So I do want to say that, you know, I think it was a little bit of a waste here with with the Drew. I do feel like somebody like Jey Uso could have benefited from that. Even an LA Knight, etc. Let's move on with Money in the Bank. We do have one winner here that when they did get it right. It's Tiffy time in the WWE. It's Tiffy in the Bank. You can use all the puns you want. What we had here was a very young group with their roster. Chelsea Green, Lyra Valkyria. WWE's very high on her. They like her. I made points over on the Wrestling Fans Insight podcast with our predictions video. Lyra Valkyria. WWE gave her a good Queen of the Ring run, but they also got her rubbing elbows with Becky Lynch. They really like her demographic. They really like her ring talent. There's a future there in their eyes. Is it the fans' eyes? Maybe, maybe not. But we've got also Tiffany Stratton and Zoe Stark. They're the young ones of the group, the ones that are kind of looking to find their way and cut their teeth. And then we got the seasoned veterans. We got Io Sky. You always be Io Shirai to me. And we've got Naomi Trinity. We've got her in there also. Naomi has now become the Natalya Neidhart, where you need a seasoned veteran in there. You throw her in. She's stable. She's steady. Unfortunately, I just think she's kind of thrown in the middle now, like in that role. in this one, I feel like we could have used a few more veterans in this. I don't know. There was parts of this match I liked a lot. I thought these girls were all trying to bring it and try to work very hard and take some insane bumps on here. But ultimately, I do think that there were some spots, one in particular, where they're all in the ring, and it looked like everybody was just trying to grab a partner at prom instead of coming to the show with that. And they were just kind of looking like, oh, I need a partner, right? It was like I was fighting in Squid Games or something. But ultimately, we do have, a bunch of pandemonium in this one. We got some probing ladder shots. Chelsea Green, I was intrigued by her idea of being Money in the Bank. She comes out, reaching for the, obviously trying to reach for the belt. Didn't work. Tries to grab a ladder, goes a little up and smacks the ladder and smacking the belt. Doesn't really work. And they try to play into that she was scared of heights. This reminded me of Orange Cassidy in, I want to say it was Double or Nothing 2020, when it was a casino ladder match. But his story was he was lazy. He didn't want to get a ladder. He just wanted to reach for it, stand on the ladder barely and try to reach for it. Chelsea Green here kind of looked a little dumb, like she didn't know what she was doing. She couldn't tell the belt was that far up. Made it look kind of goofy, but I was interested in her being a Karen trying to get into this belt. But, we get a little back and forth. We get some fire up. We get some drop kicks. We get Tiffy going into the ladder. We get some corner knees that connect. Valkyria slingshots in and back suplexes Io into the ladder. We get some missile drop kicks again. We get a whip reverse, super kick, half Nelson and a lariat. We catch a crossbody. Zoe hits her up with a follow slam with Lyra onto the ladder. So this one just kind of all over the place. We get some moonsaults. We get a spot with Naomi split-legged between the two ladders as they're pulling them apart. That looked painful. I don't know if I can pull that off. I don't think any of you guys could too. Maybe you can. We've got Stratton really working this matchup. We get a really sick spot with Io Shirai doing a back drop off of the ladder on Zoe Stark. I thought it was going to concuss her. It just looked really bad, painful. I was glad to hear in the post-press conference that they got out injury-free tonight, so that was good to see and hear. We have, ultimately, we got a power bomb later on in the match with Valkyria into a ladder. We got Naomi climbing. We got Chelsea Green right behind her. She pulls her down. Naomi hits her with the forearm, goes back to climbing. Chelsea standing on a bridge ladder. She gets a little spinny, and then she keeps it together because, again, she's scared of heights, remember? Lightheadedness. We get a kill switch into the bridge ladder. We get Stark climbing. We get the hands on the briefcase. She's scrambling a little bit. She's fighting. Io wrenches her hand, but Zoe blocks. Then ultimately, fast forward again, we get Chelsea climbing. She looks like we might pull the trigger on this Chelsea Green briefcase angle. But ultimately, she has her hands on the briefcase. Stratton hits her up, knocks Green off the ladder through the table, and she unhooks the briefcase. It is Tiffy time. She is the Stratton era of the WWE. We even get a nice follow-up interview with Trish Stratus on this one, backstage segment where Tiffy time comes into play. We get a little counter. Came across a little awkward. Tiffany Stratton's going to be fine. She will take this briefcase, the only briefcase in play now for the rest of the year, and she's going to make the most of it as she tries to get her hands on a women's championship. You want to get your hands on more wrestling action? Check us out at www.fansofprowrestling.com. And we've got the Wrestling Fans Insight podcast, my other group that I work with over there, my stablemates. We run shows every Sunday consistently. We have Twitter spaces out there, talk. We have other great things over at the fansofprowrestling.com. We've got Fan in the Van. We got Ted from Ted's Takes, always a big supporter of the channel here and a friend of mine. And then we got Chairshot Sports. All good stuff over there. Thank you for being a part of it. Let's get in further to our main event. We got a 6-man tag. We get the Bloodline coming out. We get Jacob Fatu in this matchup. We get mentioned from Corey Graves and Michael Cole how Jacob Fatu had to get special clearance from Triple H pulling strings to even allow him in the country. I like it. You played into the real life. Tell us what a madman that he is. Tell us what he is. I love it. They play into that character, into that role. We go. We've got Cody Rhodes over as the champ of the crowd. We get a classic 6-man bout. We got good back and forth here. This match did a good job of getting the new bloodline a little bit further of looking like a threat. We know what it is. We know what it has. I know in the back of our minds, we are looking at this as 2.0. It doesn't mean it's necessarily improved from the original bloodline, but I understand what they did here. They're trying to get a dominant win to set up something more. What you got tonight is a lot of back and forth action. We got a referee being thrown out of it. Actually hit a couple times, even smashed in between a steel steps and the Samoan werewolf, doing damage all over this one. We get a lot of back and forth. I won't give you a play-by-play. What I will tell you guys is we do get this was the emergence of Jacob Fatu in his first WWE match. We've got him actually even at one point going through the announcer table, and Kevin Owens doing a frog splash on that announcer table, taking him out, and he gets right back up and gets in this ring and gets involved in this match. You know, we got a lot going on here, but ultimately after it breaks down, referees knocked down, we have a bunch just going on. I was waiting. I knew we would not have a Roman Reigns. We're saving that. Paul Heyman's probably still in the hospital, right? We need Paul to summon his tribal chief. But what I was wondering is if we would get a maybe lead into that. Would we get a Jimmy Uso coming back and helping the babyface team of Orton, Owens, and Rhodes to get an advantage over the bloodline? Maybe it's too soon. What they did want to get is a bloodline win here. We wanted to get... I'm surprised that they allowed Solo to pin Cody Rhodes. I'm not a fan of pinning the champion so early in his championship reign. I understand they did it last year at a PLE with Jey Uso and Roman. But that was deep into Roman's championship reign, where Cody is in within his first 6 months of his championship reign. And I feel like that champion, if he's going to be built of a long-term good champion, should not be pinned in these situations. I felt there was a opportunity for everything to break down the way it did, and then for Solo Sikoa to pin the, Kevin Owens, the hometown favorite in this matchup. I would have even had him submit via sharpshooter since we're in Canada. You really want to get some heat. Use that sharpshooter and get Kevin Owens to submit in his home country. That's how you build some heat without pinning your champion in this one. But instead, we do get Cody Rhodes taking the pin. Cody's a strong enough champion. He will recover. I'm just not a fan of that kind of style. But I understand the purpose. I get why they're doing it. WWE's on fire right now. They'll make it happen. It'll work, right? It's not going to kill Cody. He's been built. For me, I feel like they are going to lead to a Cody Rhodes, Solo Sikoa one-on-one matchup in this attempt to build Solo even stronger at SummerSlam. For me, I just don't know. I don't feel Solo and Cody is a real threat to Cody. I feel like we can do better for Cody Rhodes and his championship. And I understand we don't want to do too good because we don't want Cody to lose the title. I get that. The story will write itself. It'll lead into Survivor Series. New bloodline. Old bloodline. War Games. Book that. That's going to happen, right? But what we ultimately have here is Solo getting the win and the advantage here over Cody, and establishing himself as the tribal chief and the one running the show, with the Tamatoga Tagaloa and the Samoan werewolf making his debut. So what we ultimately have is the main event matchup over. We go off the air. Let's get into our final thoughts. So Money in the Bank 2024. It was a roller coaster for me. It had a little up and a little down, right? I felt like both Money in the Bank ladder matches themselves were fine enough. They established what they needed to do. What I did not like is the Drew McIntyre cash-in. I didn't think his feud with CM Punk needed to be added. It's been built so well, but I don't like the idea that the Money in the Bank briefcase is now irrelevant for another year. The Sami Zayn Intercontinental Championship matchup did not quite, I didn't hate it, but it just didn't deliver for me. It may have resonated with you guys. That long of a match. I don't think it was overly long, but it was just there. For what I do like is, again, this is the next bump in the road to SummerSlam, and I feel like we are going to get a build-up card. We're looking at McIntyre and Punk for SummerSlam. We're looking at possibly Cody and Solo with some bloodline, most likely Roman Reigns returning. That's fine. He can show up in Cleveland. World title match seems all over the place. I think we're thinking of multi-man matchup at SummerSlam for that title. Maybe a gauntlet match. Who knows? I would almost be for, if Damian Priest is going to be your champion, to put him through the gauntlet. Let him establish himself further. Because I think they might just keep that title on him for a little bit. But I don't know. You do run the risk of Gunther, and I do think this could be Gunther's title also. Guys, let me know. I mean, this kind of breaks down in a lot of different ways tonight. Did you enjoy the show? I personally felt like it was a decent evening, and I still doesn't feel like it hurts the WWE's momentum going forward. Thank you guys for joining in. Appreciate each and every one of you. I'm heading out. It's not goodbye. Like, share, subscribe. Game over.